What the First Amendment really protects. Welcome back to Are You Smarter Than a Libertarian? I'm Jeff, and today we're getting into something that should concern everyone, regardless of your politics, free speech, and government crackdowns. Let's begin with the basics. The First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution guarantees the right to free speech, peaceably assemble, and petition the government for redress of grievances. That means you can protest peacefully without fear of arrest or retaliation. Or at least that's how it's supposed to work. The way things are supposed to work doesn't always work that way. But let's look at what happened in October of 2023. Over 400 activists, including rabbis and Jewish groups, held a non-violent sit-in at Cannon House office building, asking Congress to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. There was no violence, no property damage, just citizens speaking out. And yet, riot police moved in, mass arrests followed. Many were charged with unlawful demonstration, a vague and often inconsistently applied rule. So, what gives? The First Amendment is clear, but government agencies often lean on permit requirements, time, place, manner restrictions, or security excuses to criminalize protests they don't like. It's a legal gray zone that gives the illusion of freedom until you cross the line they draw with disappearing ink. I mean, I understand proper time, place, manner restrictions. For certain things, I do. Section 2. University and the weaponization of security. Let's zoom in on college campuses. Places that are supposed to foster open debate and critical thinking, although they haven't done that in 2 decades. Yet in the past year, we've seen universities become battlegrounds, not just of ideas, but of state and institutional force. Take Emory University. A group of students staged a peaceful sit-in. They weren't disruptive, they weren't destructive, but they were calling attention to U.S. foreign policy, and that was enough to summon riot police in tactical gear. So let that sink in. And you may ask, well, why did this happen? And that's a valid question. Because once a protest becomes inconvenient for administrators or donors, it's suddenly a security threat. At UCLA, we saw another level of failure. Pro-Palestinian students were physically attacked by counter-protesters. Campus police stood by until the victims set up tents. They moved in to dismantle the encampment. My bad. In both cases, the authorities framed their actions as protecting order. But legally, order doesn't trump the content neutrality principle of the First Amendment. Government bodies, including public universities, can't punish speech based on what's being said. We saw this when the left attacked the right. And yet, they do, because the average student doesn't have a legal team, a social media platform, or political leverage. That imbalance makes it easy for institutions to weaponize safety rhetoric against any form of dissent. Foreign nationals, DHS, and the danger of precedent. Here's where it gets especially dangerous and, quite frankly, Orwellian. Many of the recent protests include foreign students and visa holders. Legally, they have the right to protest peacefully while in the United States. But under broad federal rules, especially under the Patriot Act and immigration law, the Department of Homeland Security can allege that certain protests constitute material support for terrorism, even without any evidence of actual support. That allegation can trigger detention, visa revocation, or deportation. And who decides what counts as support? Not a judge, not a jury. Often it's just a DHS official interpreting policy. There is no clear line in the sand. That means a foreign student waving a flag, chanting a slogan, or even just attending a protest could be accused of endorsing extremism. Whether you agree with it or not, that should alarm everybody. Because once the government normalizes this level of subjective interpretation, citizens aren't far behind. If they can use security to silence a student, they can use it to censor you from posting online. Look what they did during COVID, attending a rally or donating to a cause. Liberty is not lost all at once, but inch by inch under layers of legal sounding justification. So, are you smarter than a libertarian yet? Here's what you need to remember. And remember this well. Free speech doesn't need permission from power. Security has been the go-to excuse for silencing dissent throughout history, from civil rights to anti-war to labor movements. And you may not agree with any of those things, but it should still scare you. And once you let the government decide what speech is acceptable, eventually all dissent becomes dangerous. The First Amendment doesn't just protect popular speech. It exists specifically to protect the speech you hate. Because if one group can be silenced, every group can be silenced. This is Jeff signing off from Are You Smarter Than a Libertarian? And remember, liberty isn't granted, it is exercised. Thank you very much for watching. New videos drop every day. My podcast can be found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio Podcast. Until next time, stay free, stay informed, and stay accountable.